This is the guy who's gonna play the father. He actually looks like him. That's great casting right there. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel today. We're gonna be talking about some very interesting news as it actually pertains to Ahsoka Season 2 and some alleged big leaks. Again, these are leaks, so if you don't want to watch, it's okay, you don't have to. But at the same time, we're pretty far out, so a lot of these leaks, there's a good chance some of them might not come true. They're brought to us today by someone who I regard as pretty reliable when it comes to leaks. It seems like he has pretty good sources. His track record is pretty good, and he does have a lot of good takes, at least when it comes to Star Wars and the Marvel leaks that he talks about. These do seem to be good sources. So it was brought to us from Joshua Lucas over at the Den of Nerds. Definitely go check his channel out, give him a like and subscription. I always enjoy this stuff, you know, even before I started YouTube. So without further ado, let's dig into this video about the leaks concerning Ahsoka Season 2.
Okay, let's talk about Star Wars, man. This is actually really cool. I don't know how exciting this will be for other people, but for me, this is pretty damn cool. Okay, and this has to do with Ahsoka Season 2. So this dude, Charlotte Copley, the guy from District 9 and Maleficent, this dude is awesome. He has a very unique...
Okay, those are actually really cool movies, but more importantly, this is the guy who's gonna play the father. He actually looks like him. That's great casting right there.
Voice. Love this dude's voice. He has been cast to be the father. He's been cast to be the father in Ahsoka Season 2.
I mean, it could be someone else, like leaks, but still.
So, if you doubted that they were going to do the Mortis gods, you're crazy. I mean, I told you guys months and months ago, they're going to do a flashback on Mortis, likely with Kenobi, young Ahsoka, with Anakin. They cast the sister. They cast the brother. It's Sam Witwer, which is fucking crazy, but Sam Witwer is actually going to play the brother. And then they have this guy, Copley, as the father. On top of that, they did cast Abeloth as well. They on Mortis, likely with Kenobi, young Ahsoka, with Anakin. They cast the sister. They cast the brother. It's Sam Witwer, which is fucking crazy, but Sam Witwer is actually going to play the brother.
So, you know.
And then they have this guy.
He looks like him, at least.
Copley as the father. On top of that, they did cast Abeloth as well. They did cast Abeloth. So, bro, they're fucking going for it. And you know, I had those scoops. God, it must have been.
So I think it's worth noting that those people could have been cast for other roles, right? They don't necessarily have to be them, but it's pretty obvious they're going to do Mortis God stuff. The statues, they're in the show, they're in the finale. So I think it's really exciting. And if you want to know more about those Mortis gods, you want me to do a lore video, let me know in the comments below. But also just go watch Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and you know, you'll be apprised to all that stuff in a more exciting fashion than just YouTube lore.
6 months ago now, about Ahsoka Season 2. I had a source reach out and tell me just all this crazy stuff. Most of it has been corroborated by now. Like, literally, most of it has been corroborated. And the main point, though, the main thing that everybody needs to realize is Ahsoka Season 2 is going for it. With Abeloth, with Anakin having a major role, and I think they're setting something up for a potential Anakin return to the setting. Which sounds wild, but I'm actually not joking. There was a Luke Skywalker book where Anakin was able to cut down these ghost Sith beings and actually help Luke out.
Yeah, that was a post. I want to say that was in the sequel era, but I don't know if it's before The Force Awakens or not. It's like a Disney era book. I read the chapter. It was cool. It was cool. It was cool to see Anakin and Luke have that dialogue, but I don't know how much more involved I want Anakin to really be. Like I was always of the opinion that they need to move away from the Skywalker stuff in a significant way and establish their own kind of character and trilogy. And they kind of had that chance with Rey, but then they decided to make her a Palpatine. So again, I think it would be wise of Disney to, you know, you could include him, but you don't need to make him the focal lens anymore. You could just kind of slowly start moving away into different things. I mean, Anakin could very well be the new father in a sense, but he doesn't have to be this major overarching character. It's the Ahsoka show, and it's in a new era with new characters and new people.
And there's an argument to be made that whatever's going on in Peridia, Anakin is involved in a way that you would not have thought possible before that show. And I think they want more Anakin. More.
It makes sense. He did well. People love him.
They're dealing with the mother, Abeloth, this crazy recontextualization of the Force itself, of the dark side, right? And this goes into the very, very old stuff. Now, one of the reasons this is so cool, and, you know, some of you guys already know this, but maybe some of you don't remember, so I'll tell you this story again. One of the things that's fascinating about Filoni and the character of Abeloth is that they were both created simultaneously by different people.
I didn't know that.
This really cool
This is what I mean. He's
interview
very,
that you can find.
Very cool.
Where the writers of the Legacy of the Force books did an interview where they discussed meeting with Dave Filoni and collaborating about Mortis, collaborating about the Ones, and collaborating about Abeloth. Dave was already cooking up the backstory for the Ones and the Celestials. This was something that was being explored a little bit in those novels as well. And this is like the Legacy of the Force, Legends of the Force, out of... this is actually after the...
This is like very reminiscent of earlier times in Star Wars, and I'm talking about like 50,000 years, 100,000 years, 200,000 years before the main events of Star Wars, because there is lore around like the Celestial, the Ones, the Yuuzhan Vong, like all these things that happened before, and just a time where Star Wars and the Star Wars galaxy wasn't really a Star Wars galaxy yet. It was just a galaxy shaped by these like deities.
Yuuzhan Vong War. This is after their time on the way station. And this is the beginning of Luke's exile. So Luke gets exiled from the Jedi Order. He and his son go around the galaxy to learn about stuff. They're retracing the steps of Jason Solo, trying to learn about that. That's why Luke gets exiled, by the way, is Jason, because his greatest student turned to the dark side and almost destroyed the entire fucking empire, right? So anyway, point is, as they're developing these stories and they're building up this character, they had this idea for a human being that was once a steward of the Celestials or of the Ones, and then she drinks this forbidden fountain, and she attains this forbidden knowledge from a mirror.
The OG, that's the story of Abeloth.
And becomes this horrifically corrupted, dark, like goddess, evil goddess of the Force. And what's interesting about this character is these characters were building up Abeloth, these writers, and Filoni was building up Abeloth as well. So sometimes it's like great minds think alike. They're both creating this character at the time, and this is before Disney. This was before Disney. Dave decided to collaborate with the writers of these books to have the story of Abeloth in those books match up with what he was eventually going to do with that same character in the Clone Wars animation. Now we know that when Disney comes in and buys it, they end Clone Wars rather abruptly. And Dave had a lot of stuff he wanted to do that he doesn't get to do. He gets to do a little bit of it when he comes back to finish it in that season 7 when it's reborn. But that last season of Clone Wars was like a really short season. He throws in a bunch of weird stuff with Yoda, weird stuff with the prophecy, Order 66, blah, blah, blah. And then they're out. But I believe Dave was always going to eventually get to Abeloth. Okay. So this whole idea of the Ones, this whole idea of Anakin, the whole idea of Abeloth.
I mean, if you watch the lost stories of the Clone Wars, it definitely seems that way. There is a lot of like weird, funky stuff going on. And one of my favorite episodes of that, you know, spiritual last season was Yoda going to talk to the Wills or the Ones and, you know, going that journey with them. You know, the cosmic force is very interesting. As for how I think audiences will receive it, that remains to be seen. I guess they're going to, you know, probably cast him in a more typical like villain or hero kind of light instead of being like how they had the clown face mask where it was like good, bad, neutral kind of deal.
Right? It was something that I called pretty early on when Ahsoka season 1 was coming out. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but there were reasons why I thought we were headed towards Abeloth, right? And we're so clearly headed towards Abeloth. This is a natural extension of a story Dave was thinking about years ago when he was first building the Mortis gods into the Clone Wars stuff. And it's such a Filoni thing because it's so weird, it's so out there, it's so like trippy and you know mystical, and it's like an expansion of all the George Lucas stuff, right? It's really, really weird. Well, that's clearly what he was building then, and I would argue that is what he is building now. And I would argue that Ahsoka season 2 is going to be this incredible thing where he puts on in full display what his vision for the backstory of this mythos and these different beings and even Anakin himself all is. So, dude, oh my God. Look, I know Star Wars is in a really weird spot, and
it is in a weird spot. If you go on the Star Wars actual YouTube page and you look at their view count across their videos, it's really abysmal. And, you know, you have these Star Wars fans who are like, oh, the Acolyte was good. It was not good. It was very bad. Obi-Wan was good. Boba Fett was good. These people who, you know, where they could just put out, you know, and when I mean they, I just mean the people creating it, right? I'm not even targeting anyone specifically with this. These people, these creators, they could make slop, and certain fans will eat it and tell you it's liquid gold, water from the fountain of youth, the best thing they've ever had. They just refuse to acknowledge the fact that some of this stuff is not good. And the proof in the pudding is in metrics, it's in views, it's in reception, it's in audience interest levels. And you look at the Star Wars view counts on their main page, and it's very, very low. You look at the view counts on a YouTuber's page like Star Wars Theory, the largest Star Wars YouTuber on the internet, the lore videos, very low engagement. So sometimes I like kind of complain. I'm like, oh, you know, this lore video I made only got like a few hundred views. A few hundred views is probably overperforming for a channel of my size. I think it's like 2.3K subscribers. You have YouTubers with millions of subscribers. You have channels with millions of subscribers, like the Star Wars channel, 4 million subscribers, 3 million subscribers, and they're not cracking like 50,000 views, 10,000 views in the first, you know, few hours. It's very bad. So, you know, it remains to be seen what a show like Ahsoka will do for the franchise. You know, I don't really know if it could really help out. I kind of think you need like a Mandalorian season 2. You need like something that's going to do like a renaissance of Star Wars. I think Star Wars captured lightning in a bottle with the Mandalorian and Grogu, and they squandered it with season 3 in the Book of Boba Fett. But if they can get something like that back and land something on the shelves, have people interested in buying, clicking, you know, all that good stuff, I think Star Wars will be back. But right now, Star Wars is in a very, very, very murky place. This is probably the most dormant I've seen Star Wars since probably before Disney purchased it.
It's hard to imagine Star Wars getting back to where it was. It's hard to imagine that the movies will pop off. It's hard to imagine we'll ever get back to a place where the whole fan base is really excited about what comes next. But Ahsoka Season 2 has a chance, in my opinion, to sort of re-solidify the value of Filoni Star Wars, of mythic Star Wars, right? And I'm not necessarily trying to make it about Andor versus Ahsoka, but that was a big argument that a lot of Andor fans wanted to make it into, and that's a thing that a lot of people on the internet want to make it into, and that's fine. If y'all want to play that game, I'm going with Filoni, and I am not only hopeful, but
So here's the thing. Andor was great, but it doesn't have that longevity for the overall Star Wars community. Andor's target audience is me, maybe people who like HBO shows, basically like an older audience. You know, I would say like 25 and up. That's their target audience, adult Star Wars. They want the higher end as well. Star Wars fans are, you know, they have aged. We've all gotten a little bit older. George Lucas always preached to make Star Wars for kids, to have something for the children. That's why Episode 1 had Jar Jar Binks, the pod race, little Anakin, and it brought in a new generation of fans who became me, someone who's in their early 30s, right? Someone like Josh, who's in his 30s. Someone like Star Wars Theory, who's in their 30s. They ushered in that generation. Andor is not ushering in a new generation of fans. Andor is appeasing, you know, a more developed generation of fans. Projects like Ahsoka, projects like the Clone Wars, projects like Star Wars Rebels, it's kind of really made for like a general audiences. Now, I understand the animated stuff might not be, but a show like Ahsoka appeals to all audiences. And that's why the success of Ahsoka Season 2 is paramount for Star Wars going forward. That's why Filoni content is paramount for Star Wars going forward as well. Because Filoni Star Wars is very close to George Lucas Star Wars in concept, right? Make it for children. Make it for adults, but have something there for kids to bring a new generation. Tell a story of hope. Tell a story of perseverance, right? Andor's story is more about like rebellion against a political, you know, ideology or establishment. That doesn't resonate with someone who's 5 years old. But to get the 5-year-old to stay with the brand all the way till they're 30 to consume the older content, you gotta bring them along. You bring them along by having a general content that's overarching with large themes that appeals to everyone, and that will appeal to everyone for a long stretch of time. that has messages that resonate with them when they're 5 and they're 30. The hero's journey resonates with everyone. Not that Andor's not a hero, but it's a very niche kind of Star Wars content. So, you know, I agree. I would take the Filoni content over Andor. And I think long term, like if you were to look at it in like a 20-year window, the Filoni content will beat out Andor 10 out of 10 times. And I'll put money on that.
I'm actually expecting Ahsoka season 2 to completely eclipse Andor. Hopefully completely eclipse its own first season, but to be so good, so ambitious as to remind people what mystical
Star Wars is.
Hero's journey, mythic Star Wars really is. And it is weird, and it is out there, and it is not about motherfuckers eating cereal and stalking an Imperial officer for 2 seasons. That's not what it is. So at the end of the day, for me,
yeah.
I continue to expect that Ahsoka season 2 is going to be a massive deal. I think it'll chart on Nielsen. I think we will see undeniable success. I think its numbers will be better than Andor, and I think it is maybe the last chance that this brand has to show.
I'll tell you what, if they push Ahsoka as hard as they pushed Andor by making Ahsoka season 1 free on YouTube, by throwing ads at people, by putting it everywhere, if they market it like that, because I didn't really see that marketing push with Ahsoka season 1, I would say, not with how they marketed Andor. They marketed the fuck out of Andor. They put that thing everywhere, and making it free on YouTube was really, they're just trying to funnel everybody into season 2. And it worked, right? It worked because the show actually was excellent. But if they do that for Ahsoka season 2, the show will blow up, in my opinion. But they got to take that chance.
The fan base and to show the people that are in charge that this is really what Star Wars is. This is what is going to activate the most of the fan base. This is what's going to get people popping on social media. This is what's going to get you all of the acclaim and get the big viewership numbers and the imprint and all of it. I am so hopeful that that's what it is, because the other side of it is this shit's just going to be hella weird. There'll be like a dozen of us that appreciate it, and they'll want
like me.
Tony Gilroy to do the next thing. And if that happens, we are fucked.
Yeah, I think that's the case. If Ahsoka season 2 fails and they shift towards like the Andor model, Star Wars will never be the same. It would be a complete betrayal of George Lucas, and I think you have to stick with what George wanted and the direction he was going in. Not that he wouldn't make Andor. Not that Andor's not fantastic. Not that you can make Andor. Star Wars shouldn't be Andor-esque. It should be like Ahsoka-esque in the themes, and the show, and stuff like that.
So, the father cast for Ahsoka season 2. I think this just confirms a lot of the shit I've been telling y'all about. And I guess my question to you now is, do you think this show has the chance, the potential to pop off? Is this thing going to right the ship? Or is the Star Wars fan base too divided? Are there too many Andor fans? Are people going to think this is too weird? You tell me, chat. What do you think?
I don't think the fandom is divided. I think there's just a very vocal minority of fans. Or what's the saying in Rogue One? Make 10 men feel like 100. I kind of feel like the voices of 10 men feels like 100. And there's 200 of us. All right, guys. Well, there's not too much left in this video. The remainder of the video is Josh interacting with his audience. I assume this is from a past live stream. But there you have it. That's the leak, at least today's leak, for Ahsoka Season 2, the casting, in particular for the father. So I have big hopes for the show. And if you love Ahsoka Season 2, just let me know that in the comments below. And let me know what your expectations are for Season 2 and the casting of this particular actor. Seems like a high-level casting. It seems like an appropriate casting too. I mean, he looks just like the guy. It'll be interesting to see if they make his face gray, but we'll see. And if you want more theory and lore related to the upcoming Ahsoka Season 2 and those important characters like Baylan, like Shin, like Sabine, like Ezra, let me know in the comments below, and stay tuned because I do have 3 lore and theory related videos that tie in to the Ahsoka show and 3 characters from the show itself. The videos total, I would say about 50 minutes. So 3 videos, 50 minutes total. You guys are going to love it. It has everything. Lore, theory, speculation, examining the influences for the character and how it all ties in to a bigger picture. So if you're looking forward to that content, stand by. It's coming. I guarantee you it's coming. In other news for the channel, I did get a gimbal. You know, that's why everything is so nice and steady. So the channel's getting upgraded. And I will be bringing it with me to New York City Comic Con. I'll be doing like a full kind of walking tour and targeting pretty much everything I can Star Wars related, just for you guys, just because I love doing it. So if you want me to do anything in particular at New York City Comic Con, if you want me to talk to any particular artist or any particular writer or any particular actor in New York City Comic Con, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what question you want me to ask them, and I'll do my best to get to them. And I'll give you guys a shout out, and I'll ask them the question on your behalf. So I can't wait for that to happen as well. So yeah, stay tuned for all that stuff. Stay tuned for more of these videos as well. I love doing the news and reacts. That's a great time for me too, and I love interacting with you guys as well. And until next time, guys, stay safe out there. May the Force be with you always. I'll catch you in the next video.